If you're a film director, content creator and creative director, then most of your life is spent creating content for cinema, for TV, for online, for social media, for marketing, and you well know that the messages and the content that you create is potentially seen by thousands and many of people. But if you're somebody who creates this content and then away from work you have trouble at home, if you're going through a divorce or a separation, or you have issues in your life, and then you're using social media to communicate that message to your friends, family and other people, it's a complete no-no. Seriously. I'm somebody that has worked in the film industry for 30 years. I worked on 2,500 movie campaigns, created marketing campaigns for them. My biggest client was Disney. I've also directed a number of documentaries, and I know what it's like to work in this industry with the stress that it comes with. And right now I'm lucky enough to be in the beautiful Tuscan Hills with my wife of 2 years. We've been together 6 years, but 8 years ago I was going through a separation and a divorce. I was dealing with all manner of personal issues from an addictive perspective, and that had built up over 20 years of working in the film industry. And also literally about 3 weeks after I decided to divorce from my wife, well, we both decided to divorce, my father passed away. And literally the day after he passed away was the day I released my first feature-length documentary film, and my world collapsed. Everything that I knew, that I thought I knew, ended. And my life just turned completely upside down. And in this video I want to talk about what not to do if you're in a situation where you are a film director, you're a content creator, and you're a creative director and somebody that is working in the industry like I am and I did, and you are going through a serious divorce or separation, or you have other issues in your life like you're just not looking after your health, you have obsessions and addictions that you want to get rid of. And in this video I want to talk about the key thing, what not to do when you're going through that, is to lean in to social media and communicate that to friends and family, and to resist the urge to use this format that you create content for to talk about your own story and what's going on for you. There's a number of practical reasons for doing that. One, it's not the best way to resolve an issue or to talk about what's going on for you. There's also legal ramifications, particularly if you're going through a divorce, that a lawyer and an attorney may look at messages that you're putting out there, and they may come up later when you're actually dealing with the messy business of who gets what, split down the line. The other thing is, it's one of those things that looking back on it, I'm aware that I didn't want to use it as a format to communicate what was going on for me. Funnily enough, my wife and I, when we did separate, we decided to communicate to our friends and family via social media on our wedding anniversary, which was in April. We decided to divorce in November. And this, talking about it now, it seems like a great and, caring plan to do, but we didn't plan to do that at the time. But because my father passed away so close to deciding that I was going to divorce, I didn't tell my family and parent and my mother until 5 months later, just because of what she was going through and what the whole family was going through. But my wife and I at the time, we decided, because we'd been together for so long and it was going to affect so many of our friends and family, that we would put out a message together where we thanked the people that had been in our lives, that had been there on our wedding day, that had supported us through almost like 20 years of marriage, to say that we had come to a mutual decision that we'd become disconnected, that we were finally not working well together, that we didn't want to be together anymore, but and regrettably we were ending the marriage. And we did that in a very personal, a very private video. That's what we used the social media platform for. And the response was, to be honest, it was really moving. It was overwhelming in terms of it was non-judgmental to a certain degree. People thought we were courageous and brave for doing it. And looking back on it now, for me at the time, it was still quite upsetting to have done that. But for me, it really was a really moving and timely thing to do in a way that communicated the message in one message from us both to so many people at the same time. Clearly there are people that were closer to us that we had told about what was going on, but mostly, to be honest, it was we'd kept the news to ourselves while we were still working through the decision that we'd made, working through the death of my father, because clearly, you know, my wife, that he was father-in-law to her, and she was dealing with that grief and bereavement. We were coming right into the Christmas period. I'd just released my film, so I actually had a premiere to attend. I had marketing to do while all of this was going on, and I had to, you know, literally at the London premiere of my film, when I knew that this was going on, nobody knew that we had decided to separate. And that was such a weird space to be in, to be around all of these people that had supported me with the movie, that were there to see it, that were there to congratulate me. My wife had also worked on the film. She's a professional makeup artist, so she was involved in the production and she was there at the premiere. So that was a very unusual period of time where I was emotionally dealing with what was going on. But that was why we'd also decided to hold off communicating that message with people around us. And I'm not suggesting that you do it this way, but it's something that I would hope you could potentially think about doing if you had an agreement with one another. Particularly, again, as I've said, if you're somebody, well, if you are a film director and a content creator and a creative director that's working, if there's a more of a creative way that you can communicate that message to the people around you. And then again, it might be something that's so personal to you, that's so painful that you wouldn't want to do that at all. You wouldn't want to use social media in that regard. But for us, it actually worked really well, the fact that we got that message out there and we could see how people responded to us both at the same time, which meant a great deal. And also for me and for my ex-wife, it felt like there was that completion. Suddenly putting the news out there made it absolutely official, because we clearly hadn't gone through the legality of the paperwork with the divorce, but that process in of itself had really drew a line under the decision that we'd made. And it made, even though as painful as it was, it made the decision that we made final, and that we could then start planning and moving forward with the decision that we'd made. So one of the things I would suggest not to do is go straight to your social media feed if you're going through a divorce or a separation and communicate with people what's going on and how painful that is. Or if you are to do that, really watch what messages you're sending out there. And if you're someone that is just going through so much, you go off the deep end and you just want to go out with your mates or colleagues and friends and just drown your sorrows, that again, I wouldn't do that privately, but try and reserve putting any pictures online or doing messages online, because that could be something that could come back and really create some problems for you later down the line if you got into a messy situation with deciding who has what when it comes to splitting the assets financially. And in this video here, I talk specifically about what not to do financially if you're going through a divorce and a separation, the tips and tricks, the things to avoid, the things to do in terms of looking out for yourself, looking out for your finances. So do check that video out here where I talk specifically about that. And in another video, I'm going to talk about social media and how people respond to the messages that you are putting out there, but also that how people close to you respond to that news if you didn't do a post like my ex-wife and I did. So I hope you found this video useful and valuable. And I'm thinking, my heart goes out to you with wherever you are. Please do put any questions in the comments if you have any further questions. I'm going to be putting up a lot more of these videos leading up to where I'm going to be talking about a 6-week masterclass coaching course to reclaim your midlife, moving into the end of this year and 2026. And I'm going to be putting out more videos where I'm going to go into a great length of detail and the value that you can get from that course that you can do with me. That isn't available yet. That's coming in the future. I just wanted to give you all a heads up before I put that out there. But right now, as I'm in Italy, as I'm on my enjoying a wonderful second wedding anniversary. It feels a million miles away from where I was 8 years ago. And I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you got value from it. I'm looking forward to putting up more videos like this. And do check out my Master Your Midlife morning message that's going to come up tomorrow morning, and more of those videos coming soon. So love yourself, guys. Love movies. It'll love you back. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.